Interesting how we can learn about the power of the capital markets right here on Econo Chat. Let's talk business with Mr. Daniel Steinman. If you just tuned in, you are tuned in to the Power Station Energy 100 with myself, Elsabi Tibinyani, as well as Mr. Daniel Steinman teaching us on the capital markets.
Elsabi, it is not as boring as it sounds.
No, definitely not. I find
actually,
it very...
When you go to the practical nitty-gritty of it, it's very entertaining, very interesting.
It is.
Because one doesn't realize how important it is. The average guy in Namibia does not realize the size, the enormous power of the American market.
So true.
But when we braai on a Friday evening and we talk about the local interest rates and we say, did you hear that guy say on radio energy that this Bank of Namibia doesn't know what they're doing? It's all about interest rates. And then I have to watch my step.
Yeah.
Be careful what I say. But it then becomes very interesting because now you start realizing what is happening in New York or in Chicago or in San Francisco is affecting the charges that you have to pay the bank in Namibia, in Windhoek, on your home loan. And why suddenly you've got $800 in a month less in your pocket than a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
You know, and this is where you then start thinking, that guy said the interest rates will stay high as long as they are high in the United States. So let's start paying attention. You don't need to go read the Wall Street Journal every day, but when you come across this analytical sort of thing, you now have an understanding that we can't really expect very big interest rates movements locally before it doesn't happen in the United States. Now, and that's very important. So we must not really sacrifice the Bank of Namibia, shoot the messenger. They, I think I've said it often, they are caught between a hard place and a rock. You know? They cannot diverge too far from the South African Reserve Bank for obvious local liquidity reasons. And the South African Reserve Bank cannot move away too far from the Federal Reserve in the United States for the simple reason that big vacuum cleaner is just sucking up all the available rand and the Namibia dollar with it, and that it will not change until inflation starts abating in the United States market, and only then will interest rates come down, and only then will you start seeing local relief. I'm talking about significant relief. Remember, I'm on record as saying that our interest rates, according to my mind and my calculations and projections, is about 2 percentage points too high. But last week when we talked, I actually put those 2 percentage points into perspective. You know, and that it sounds like nothing. I mean, the typical reaction is interest rates, the repo rate, 5.5%, 7.5%. What does it matter? It matters a lot. Do you remember the figures that on $800,000 home loan, it is about $1,300 in a month. And Elizabeth, I can guarantee you, from my talking to people every day of my life, my involvement in what happens in the budgets of ordinary households, I can tell you 1,300 Namibia dollars make a big difference.
It does. It does.
In terms of groceries or school fees or the fuel you need to get to work. Especially if you consider that you did not get a $1,300 raise per month, but suddenly you as an ordinary household have to pay that much more on your mortgage loan. And remember, that's only on your home loan. Also on your overdraft, if you've got one. If you have a credit card,
Yep.
They hammer you with the interest rates on that credit card.
They do.
So it's not just in one place.
Yeah.
It's all over wherever you have a facility or a debt arrangement or a loan or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
If any form of credit that you have is affected by interest rates. Even some lay-bys.
Yeah.
You know, the very popular shops you see that nice double bed. Oh, Leafy and I, we want to go buy that double bed. We have 24 months to pay. But you don't realize that the compensation for the higher interest rate is built into that price and that lay-by.
Yeah.
It affects you every
day. And every day.
Yes.
It does. Well, we have unfortunately come to the end of this very interesting talk, but this is not where we end. We will, of course, be back again with yet another very interesting topic and, of course, very educative topic. So keep it locked to the Power Station Energy 100. And, well, it's a goodbye from me and also a goodbye from Mr. Daniel Steinman till we meet again next week.